Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Joel MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Floyer and Michael Bullock. Guys, we're just going to dive right on in. We're going to start off with NXT 2.0. And the first thing that we did have was a promo segment, which was Miz TV. Yeah, this time his guest was the new NXT champion Dolph Ziggler, interrupted by LA Knight. They had a little back and forth, and it led us to the main event of the evening later in the show this evening, as it was LA Knight versus Dolph Ziggler for, I believe, it was going to be for the NXT title. So, look, it was an okay segment. A lot of the times, talking segments can be a little long. They can get drawn out. There's really nothing amazing about them. They could be solid and that's it, or they could be absolute train wrecks and then you take the latter. Where on this one, it was just okay to me. It was solid. There was nothing amazing about it, but for Miz to go over from Monday Night Raw to NXT to do this with Dolph Ziggler, look. This is that exchange that Anthony Floyo alluded to a while ago, that you're going to see a lot more Monday Night Raw guys coming to NXT and vice versa, where NXT guys might be heading to Raw to help promote the shows. It's like kind of a you scratch my back, I scratch your back, more than anything else. So at the end of the day, that's exactly what it's going to be. So it was all right. I'm not gonna say it was anything spectacular about it. It was okay for what it was worth. So Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Well, I'll tell you, MF, it was a fun, simple segment that barely needed Miz's involvement. This was just about adding a necessary spark to a card that was lacking big matches, and a great way to start it off with to have Dolph Ziggler's first title defense against someone the caliber of an LA Knight. And we know, and MF and I know his body of work, a former Impact Wrestling heavyweight champion. And could he add NXT champion to that? Only time will tell. We'll get into that at the end. But some notable things that came out of this. The Miz put over LA Knight big for his ability in the ring and on the mic. This is likely to be a feud that WWE revisits down the line. LA Knight looked right at home next to three guys who have won gold on the main roster. And the A-lister was popular, as was Knight. Miz even got a nice little reception. So, definitely my takeaways from all this. So, not much more to say on this. So, Michael Bullock, a Miz TV segment on your show. The Raw NXT crossover continues.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, this was a fine segment. I mean, it wasn't anything that much to write home about, but yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, the Miz TV being on NXT 2.0, I mean, yeah, I mean, LA Knight saying he wanted the first shot at Ziggler in the NXT title. I mean, would LA Knight accomplish it? We'll find out later on in the night. But anywho, I thought it was like I said, a good solid promo. So really nothing more to say on it. So let's move on, Fletch.
All right, and the next thing that we have here on the show here tonight was the first fight of the evening. And this one we had was Cameron Grimes versus Santos Escobar. The winner gets an opportunity. They will be added to the North American Championship match, the ladder match at Stand and Deliver. The winner of the bout in 11 minutes and 30 seconds and qualifying for that ladder match is Santos Escobar. Anthony Florio. Santos has punched his ticket to Stand and Deliver. Now we have Carmelo Hayes and Santos Escobar. They will be a part of a 5-man ladder match. The winner of that match becomes the North American champion, and that will be at WrestleMania weekend, Stand and Deliver in Dallas.
Yeah, it was a back and forth, exciting match between two of NXT 2.0's best. The near falls were memorable and did not overly rely on the two men's signature moves. It was surprising to see Cameron Grimes lose, but Santos Escobar has been well protected in NXT, more so than the technical Savage, and it's still possible. I think it's still possible that Grimes could find his way into the ladder match, maybe by way of some sort of last chance match or down the road. But some key takeaways: Legado del Fantasma got involved, allowing Escobar to trip Grimes off the apron. Grimes nearly got the win off an impressive Spanish fly variant. And Carmelo had a great line on commentary about his creator wrestler having a better rating than either man in the ring. And, it's a shame that he didn't really get a spot in 2K22, but I think he'll be in a future game down the road. But all kidding aside.
Actually, Anthony, Carmelo's going to be one of the DLC sooner rather than later. From what I'm hearing is that they're going to be doing a lot of DLC packages for the next 6 months. And I do believe, I thought I saw Carmelo Hayes as one of the characters that will be added eventually.
Oh, well, okay. So I stand corrected. So with that, 3.25 to 3.5 stars is my rating for this. It's one of the fights of the night. You can make an argument for fight of the night, but we'll see. So 3.25, 3.5. Nothing more to say. Bullock, yes, Santos Escobar may have won, but I don't know why, but I got this sneaking suspicion that Cameron Grimes, I think he'll still find a way to get into that match. Maybe some sort of last chance match, maybe.
Yeah, I could see that happening, but we'll find out eventually. But yeah, 3.25, 3.5 star match. Basically, this was a good match here, and yeah, Santos Escobar basically he wins it, and finds his way into the ladder match, and along with Carmelo Hayes, and so yeah, I still get this feeling that Cameron Grimes will get in. Maybe they'll have some kind of a last chance match of some kind, but we'll wait and see how it all plays out. So I got nothing more to add. So Fletch, it is yours.
Yeah, I'll give it about 3.25. It was an okay match. Look, I don't like the fact that Legado del Fantasma got involved as much as they did. And yeah, it does fit the narrative, it does fit the gimmick, it does fit the role, but come on. You're going for a right to go for a title. Why don't you just have a straight up one-on-one? That's all it really is. That's what this should have been the whole time. But, it is what it is. Legado del Fantasma does advance. They get their shot. They get to fight for the belts. Or I should say, Santos gets his shot. I don't know what else there is to add. So, yeah, we're going to move right on along. Next up that we had here was the A-Kid making his NXT debut, going one-on-one with Kushida, and A-Kid wins it in about 5 minutes. So, Michael Bullock, A-Kid makes his debut, pretty successful one, took down a former Cruiserweight champion of the world in Kushida.
Yeah, what was the time of the fall there, Fletch?
5:02.
Yeah, I'll give it about maybe 1.5 to 2. It was fine. It was good first showing for A-Kid. Especially defeating someone like Kushida. So who knows? Maybe there's some good things ahead for A-Kid in NXT 2.0, but we'll just have to wait and see on it. So nothing more to say. Fletch, it is yours.
Fine for the time that they got. Fun little sprint, I'll say that. A-Kid looked pretty smooth in the ring. He wasn't really, I don't think he was really worried about the moment itself. This was kind of more of a two guys just feeling each other out kind of more thing. I would like to see more from A-Kid. Kushida, the time splitter himself, he could do whatever he wants. It's amazing. I know him really well from New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was the junior heavyweight champion for a number of years. So, I mean, this loss won't hurt Kushida. They needed A-Kid to get a nice little performance, which he got. It's a work in progress, but all in all, I thought it was fine. So I could give this about maybe 1.5, 1 3/4. Anthony, it's yours.
I'm going to be a little more generous. I'm going to give this 2.5 stars. I mean, it was nice to see Kushida perform on his own, and he and A-Kid were fluid together, but for a couple of messy transitions. It felt like the opening act of an exciting series. A-Kid has work to do in order to sell himself to a fresh audience. He had to win here to build that momentum. He can certainly showcase himself if he does earn a spot in the ladder match. Some key takeaways. Kushida had a great series of moves that allowed him to always find a way back into an armbar. And Kushida's punt on A-Kid out of the corner echoed throughout the arena. But one other notable takeaway is that because of this win, A-Kid gets an opportunity of a lifetime. He's going to go one-on-one with Grayson Waller next week. And whoever wins that match, that man will also qualify for that North American Championship ladder match at Stand and Deliver. So high stakes for second match on the main NXT roster after being in NXT UK. Now A-Kid is going to have an even bigger match next week, going up against perhaps the top heel on NXT right now in Grayson Waller, and a win here, and he's going to have a chance at the North American Championship. So think about that for a moment. So
heck of a way to start your NXT career. Second fight in, and third fight in your career, and now you might be fighting for the North American Championship at WrestleMania weekend. I mean, Whoa, that's quite a feat if he gets there. But of course, you got Grayson Waller. He's one of the few bright spots in NXT right now. So
top heel, I'd say.
Yeah, agreed.
But I'd say with Carmelo right behind him. So that's really all I can say here. So I'm actually going to revise my rating a little bit. 2 to 2.25 is the rating for this, but that's really all there is to say. A-Kid now gets Waller next week, wins, and he's got a title shot. He's got a North American ladder match opportunity. So not much more to say. Let's continue on.
All right. Next up we had was a one-on-one match. Tiffany Stratton versus Schoolgirl Saray. Tiffany Stratton wins the match in 54 seconds. We're not even going to talk about this one. We're just going to move right on along. Then it was Tommaso Ciampa cutting a promo, was interrupted by Tony D'Angelo. And when it looks like now at Stand and Deliver, we're going to have Tony D'Angelo versus Tommaso Ciampa. And they're kind of billing this as Tommaso Ciampa's swan song for NXT. It looks like after WrestleMania, he might be heading on the full roster permanently. So big deal. So nothing more to add. And Anthony, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see, at the end of the day, Ciampa, D'Angelo. Now, D'Angelo had a really good match with Pete Dunne. Can he turn that around and parlay it into a good matchup on WrestleMania weekend against the Sicilian psychopath, Tommaso Ciampa?
I'll get into that in a minute. But Tommaso Ciampa can always draw emotion out of an audience, and he made this feel like a farewell. It is likely exactly that because, like MF said, he will probably go to Monday Night Raw post-WrestleMania. But before he departs, he will help put over Tony D'Angelo. This match makes a lot of sense as a follow-up to D'Angelo's feud with Pete Dunne. He is going after NXT originals and sending them off to the main roster. Case in point, Pete Dunne, or as he's now known as Butch. Ridiculous, but But anyways, that's really all there is for me to say here. So I could probably make an argument that this was the segment of the night. I mean, especially with the way Ciampa, opened up and poured his heart out. And that's really all there is for me to say. So segment of the night for me, So Michael Bullock, enjoy Tommaso Ciampa while you have him, because if it went the way we think it did, he could be main roster bound after Mania, and he could end up being on Raw, which would make sense because of this Raw and NXT crossover ongoing.
Yeah, it definitely does make sense. Like you said, because of the crossover, and yeah, I think this is Tommaso Ciampa's swan song. I mean, it could happen at Takeover Stand and Deliver when he goes one-on-one with Tony D'Angelo. So this was a fine segment, and this is a good way to continue to push Tony D'Angelo. So yeah, there's really nothing more for me to add. So let's move on, Fletch.
All right, with that said, we do indeed move on. Next up we had was Indy Hartwell going one-on-one with Persia Peralta. And Indy Hartwell wins the match in 2 minutes and 24 seconds. But then, okay, let's just say anything you can do, I can do better. And the next thing we know, we had ourselves a little bit of a makeout session. Definitely not PG. We'll definitely say that. Indy Hartwell and, of course, Dexter Lumis, husband and wife. We all remember the wedding. That ended up being officiated by Beth Phoenix after the original guy, or the original priest, got choked out in the middle of the ring. So Beth Phoenix ended up continuing the wedding, and they actually did get married. So it went all the way. They went all the way and got married. So we were very happy with that. I remember Michael Bullock, Anthony Floyo, and I believe Dee Dee. Well, no, Dee Dee wasn't with us that night, but she did voice her pleasure or her happiness on social media, on the Facebook chat that night. I remember that very well. And now, here we are, and of course, Persia and Duke Hudson, it seems like they're hitting it off, and now you got Indy and this going on, so we got a lot going on over here, ladies and gentlemen, and it looks like the war is about, to get very interesting, so we don't really need to talk about it because it was a short match. This match we do need to get into. Here we go again. Monday Night Raw versus NXT. Play nice, gentlemen. Dominic Mysterio representing Monday Night Raw versus Raul Mendoza of Legado del Fantasma and NXT. Survey says one more for Monday Night Raw. The winner is Dominic Mysterio. 305. Sorry, Mike Bullock. You're going to have to lead off on this one, bro. Dominic gets the win. Now, if you technically want to put the scoreboard up, it's 2 for Raw. A big old goose egg for NXT. Sorry, bro.
Well, it is what it is. What was the time, Fletch?
About 3:05.
A little too short for me, but I think this is a good way to show off them, especially Dominic Mysterio, to the people in NXT 2.0. And I don't know about you guys, but it looks like we could have a little bit of a feud with the Mysterios and Legado del Fantasma. So that's definitely something I'm definitely interested in. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. I'll say about 1.5, because it was indeed short. So, Fletch, I mean, I could definitely see the Mysterios and Legado del Fantasma feuding. I mean, what says you?
I agree with that. I think it can definitely happen. There's no doubt about that. I think at the end of the day, I think it could be a lot more better. But, for what it's worth, They did a all right job with it. It was short. I don't think I think they could have gotten more time out of it, and I think that's the biggest drawback on it is that they didn't get enough time for this, and I really think that they should have done more. So it's kind of a little bit of a letdown. I think the timing should have been a lot more stronger, and it kind of left us hanging here in a disappointing way. But it is what it is. So with that said, Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, 1.5 to 2 for me. This was as big of a star as Dominic has ever felt, proving he could get a big rub from a run in NXT. He's a smooth performer who could benefit from wrestling with talent with a variety of styles. NXT 2.0 has benefited from the crossover with Raw, even if it often leads to NXT talent losing. Santos Escobar versus Rey Mysterio would be something special, though. Key takeaways, crowd was behind Dominic in a way main roster crowds have never been, and Dominic hit a smooth arm drag into a springboard cross body. So yeah, a fun little sprint. 1.5 to 2, a little more time. This could have been even better. But how about a Santos Escobar Rey Mysterio match down the road? I'd be all for that. We'd all be for that. So not much more to say. Let's move on.
It does lead us to the main event of the evening. This is it, guys. Dolph Ziggler putting the NXT title on the line against LA Knight, winner of the bout in 11 minutes and 48 seconds, and still the NXT champion Dolph Ziggler. Right after the match was over, Braun Breaker comes out, basically says he wants a title rematch at Stand and Deliver. And, well, Dolph Ziggler said yes. So it's on, guys. NXT title on the line at Stand and Deliver. Braun Breaker versus Dolph Ziggler. Kind of predictable, kind of expected. This was the fight of the night. We'll say this about 3 stars for me. If I'm underscoring it, it is what it is. But yeah, solid. It was an okay main event. Predictable ending with a predictable matchup that we knew it was probably going to happen. Braun Breaker gets his rematch, and the NXT title is going to be on the line at Stand and Deliver. So this is probably where Breaker gets the belt back. Anthony, it's yours.
What was that time again?
11:48.
11:48. This was 3 to 3.25 stars for me. It was a smart move to sell Ziggler as a fighting champion, even as the intelligent heel. He is unlikely to run with the title for more than a month, so he got to add at least one successful defense on his resume. Dolph Ziggler and LA Knight had a solid battle, even if the result was never in question. This was always going to lead to Braun Breaker demanding his rematch, and he and Ziggler should be great together at Stand and Deliver. Key takeaways, LA Knight sold his ribs injury throughout the contest, selling the effects of his recent last man standing match with Grayson Waller. Robert Roode fully worked the manager role at ringside, selling the near falls with animated reactions. And LA Knight sent Dolph Ziggler to the mat hard with a superplex for a close near fall. So I'm actually going to bump that. I'm going to give it about 3. I'm going to say co-fight of the night, 3.25, 3.5, along with that first match we got into. So that because that was all the Cameron Grimes, Santos Escobar. That's it. So those were the 2 fights of the night for me. Both of those were 3.25 to 3.5 stars. But there's nothing much for me to say. Michael Bullock, I know you hate the idea of Ziggler as champion right now, but just give it a couple more weeks. Don't worry. Stand and Deliver. Braun Breaker will bring the title back home where it belongs for you.
Oh yeah, he'll bring the title back where it belongs. Come Stand and Deliver. We just gotta survive 2 more weeks of this ham and egger holding the NXT title. So yeah, 3.5 stars for me. But I thought this was a nice way to close out the show. So there's really nothing more to say. So overall thoughts, Fletch.
Anthony Florio, you lead off.
Of course. We did. I mean, it was another typical NXT 2.0. First match was great. Main event was great. The stuff in between, and not so much. A couple things were okay here and there. So I'm sorry to do this, but I gotta tell it like it is. 5.5 for me. Middle of the road kind of show, to be honest with you. We did have some nice developments for Stand and Deliver. I mean, we now have our main event, Braun Breaker and Dolph Ziggler for the NXT Championship. Cora Jade is going to get her women's title opportunity against Mandy Rose. You now have Tommaso Ciampa against Tony D'Angelo. So I know these 2.0s over the next couple of weeks are probably going to be, like this, whatever. But at the end of the day, TakeOver Stand and Deliver is going to be epic. So if Halloween Havoc, War Games, and New Year's Eve and Vengeance Day were any indication. So 5.5 for me. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 5.5 for me. I mean, this was it was in the middle of. I mean, like you said, this is a typical NXT 2.0 where you have a good match at the start and a good match to close. In between, not so much. So, yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. Fletch, it is yours.
Here we go, guys. Actually, no, you're right. Five for me as well. Not really good. I mean, it was middle of the road. NXT's got to wake up. They got to do something. Stand and Deliver, I think, was going to be a promising show, but now, not so much. So, nothing more to say. Guys, here we go. AEW Dynamite. 6-man tag team fight starts it off. Red Dragon and Adam Cole versus Jurassic Express and Hangman Adam Page. Winners of the bout was, UE. You could say the makeshift version of the Undisputed Era. It was Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and Adam Cole. 14:01. Wow, this was a great match. 3.25, 3.5. Actually, no, 3.5 to 3.75 of a star. You can even make an argument for 4. That's how good this match was. It was great wrestling, great action, beginning to end. There was a little moment where it was a little slow, but once it really got going, especially towards the end, it exploded. Everything was hitting right, great moments left and right. To me, the outcome was, even though the outcome was never in doubt, I kind of felt like Cole and Red Dragon was going to win this. This was a great way to start the show. Better than anything we've seen already this week. So, yeah, AEW comes out with a banger and they hit big time. Amazing, amazing, amazing match. Amazing, amazing, amazing thing that they did. And nothing more to say. Anthony, yeah, definitely fight of the night.
What was the time of the fall on that?
14:01.
14:01. Agree to disagree. It's one of the fights of the night. There's another match that I kind of thought was a little better, to be honest with you. But I'm a little torn on that one too. But I think you know where I'm going. But yes, 3.75 to 4 stars. The match took its time heating up, but once it did, with Jungle Boy tagging in Luchasaurus and Hangman confronting Adam Cole, it escalated quickly. The crowd came alive and the spots built on the previous one until Cole lowered the boom on Jungle Boy for the hard-fought win, while Red Dragon prevented Hangman from making the save. Great way to start the show that figures to have its fair share of superb in-ring offerings, at least based on this stacked card. The St. Patrick's Day Slam from the legendary Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas, which has had many of great moments from professional wrestling, so from yesteryear to now. So not much more to say here. 3.75 to 4 stars. it's definitely in my top 2 fights of the night for sure. Is it the fight of the night? I'll get back to you, but it's definitely up there. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, when the 6 man was announced, we knew it was going to be good, and no surprise that it ended up living up to the hype.
Oh yeah, it definitely delivered here with some really great wrestling here with from these 6 competitors. So 3.5 to 4. I mean, it's a great way to continue this feud with Adam Cole and Adam Hangman Page. So yeah, if you like wrestling, I think this was definitely the match for you. And like you said, was this the fight of the night? Well, you'll have to wait and find out. So nothing more to say. Fletch, let's move on.
All right. So with that said, next up, guys, this was also another title match. I believe this was was it? No, I'm sorry. All right, it was Wheeler Yuta and Chuck Taylor versus Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. Danielson and Moxley wins the match in 11 minutes and 55 seconds. So Anthony Florio, what's yours?
3.25 to 3.5 stars. Another good match here. Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson were oppressive, overwhelming, and outclassing their opponents, while William Regal appeared to be having the time of his life with Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur on commentary. A performance defined by quick tags, targeted attacks, and a clinical approach concluded with the dream team of Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson scoring the win in the extended squash. And that's really all I can say about it. And Jim Ross, you noticed Jim Ross commentary, and this was my notable takeaway from this. Jim Ross compared Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson to Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson. It's a hell of a comparison, not only based on in-ring style, but because of their status as 2 accomplished single stars. And what about Wheeler Yuta? I mean, leaving best friends behind after the match and extending his hand to Regal was great, as was the wicked slap from the Brit that acted as a sign of respect. That potential pairing bears watching in the coming weeks. So, who knows? Maybe Wheeler Yuta will be the first in line for that. That's exactly what Danielson was preaching about. Working with the younger talent, molding them. It looks like Wheeler Yuta has bought in. So, we'll have to wait and see. So 3.25, 3.5 for this. So not much more to say. I mean, MF, the Moxley Danielson connection keeps on rolling.
Yes, indeed. No doubt about it. Bullock, did you get a say in this?
I said the Bullock your thoughts, but maybe he Bullock, are you there?
Oh,
okay,
I'm here.
All right.
Yeah. I didn't know it was my turn. What did you give it?
I gave it 3.25 to 3.5.
Yeah, 3.25, 3.5 is my rating for this. I mean, this was another solid match here. I mean, they're really continuing to build this tag team of Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, and ever since they got under the tutelage of Sir William Regal, they look like to be a force to be reckoned with. And I don't know about you guys, somewhere down the line, I think they could get a shot at the AEW World Tag Team titles, and I think that's the team that could dethrone Jurassic Express. Just my personal opinion. Fletch, it's yours.
Agreed. No doubt. You make a valid point. There's really nothing more to add there. So now we're just going to move right on along. Okay. Yeah, 3.25, 3.5 is my rating as well. Very good match. Very solid work. I enjoyed it. Let's move right on along, guys. Next up we had was Scorpio Sky versus Wardlow. This was for the TNT Championship. Winners of the bout in 8 minutes and 27 seconds. And still the TNT champion Scorpio Sky successfully defends the title. What we thought could possibly happen did. Shawn Spears and MJF screws over Wardlow and cost him the TNT title. Michael Bullock, we had a sneaky suspicion, and we said it on this show a couple of weeks ago. The only way Wardlow possibly loses if he gets screwed over by MJF. Lo and behold, we were right. MJF and Shawn Spears screws over Wardlow. Scorpio Sky is still the TNT champion.
And I think you called it, Fletch. You said it. I mean, you said the only way this was going to happen, that Scorpio Sky was going to retain, was for something like this to happen, and lo and behold, it did happen. Now, Fletch, did he win by pinfall or?
That was by pinfall. Yes. Scorpio Sky rolled him up, stacked him, and got the quick win. So yeah, he stacked him for the 1, 2, 3.
Look, I'll only give it 2.5. I mean, it's just because there was so much going on outside. I mean, obviously, not just with the with Dan Lambert and his crew, but also with MJF and Shawn Spears, and obviously it looks like they're going with the feud with MJF and Wardlow. It's MJF said, "Hey, I made you who you are, and I can definitely break you." Well, let me tell you something, you little runt. Don't start something you can't finish. And you just pissed off an angry Wardlow. And I think Wardlow is probably going to want to rip the head right off of you. So, yeah. So, you certainly bit off more than you could chew. So, 2.5 for me. Fletch, it is yours.
2.5, agreed. Solid match, good story, but now it's going to get fun, because now we are definitely going to be seeing Wardlow going after Shawn Spears first, and then eventually we will get that battle, that fight, that long-awaited explosion when we see one-on-one MJF versus Wardlow, and you know the world's going to be waiting for that one. So they got to just play it right, play what they got to do, and I do believe that they will do this the right way. They'll do it the honorable way. The one thing we never, ever, 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 ever have to worry about is AEW and the way that they set up rivalries, with the way that they try to set up storylines. They don't go from month to month. They play the long game. And this is one of those that you can play the long game here, and we're going to be invested in it week in and week out. So give us a nice little story here. Obviously, you got to do Shawn Spears versus Wardlow first. Get that out of the way. And then we'll get the big payoff. And that's the big fight between Wardlow and MJF. All you're just doing is helping Wardlow increase his power, increase his popularity in AEW, so that when we do get to the point where Wardlow and MJF finally face off, we would love to see Wardlow kick the teeth down the throat of that piece of garbage known as MJF. So, Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
First things first, MF, you were right. I will openly admit it. I'll give you credit where credit is due. You saw that coming from a mile away. I was a little ignorant on my end, and well played. That's all I'm going to say. Well played. So you were right. I was wrong. So with that being said, this was about 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. in a great bit of storytelling, the young star Wardlow allowed his emotions and fury to get the best of him, taking his focus off the beaten and battered champion. The insufferable Dan Lambert and Chairman Sean Spears sucking him in, allowing MJF to strike and cost his former bodyguard the win in what was an otherwise one-sided squash match that did no favors to the overshadowed Sky and his efforts to be taken seriously as champion. Some takeaways here. Lambert wearing the second TNT championship around his waist is a great bit of insufferable heel work and a nod to his real-life belt collection. The look on MJF's face when he thought he was going to be Wardlow's next prey is exactly what will make this feud and the babyface's push work so well. And the crowd chanting for CM Punk, only for him not to appear, was a nice callback to Wardlow standing by and even participating in his assault at the hands of MJF and the Pinnacle. So, just some of my takeaways from this. 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. MJF and Wardlow, I think it's gonna the latest possible date. I mean, because MF says that they like to play the long game, and that's very true because their pay-per-views are quarterly, pretty much, and the next pay-per-view is not for 2+ months. It's not until Memorial Day weekend. Little event called Double or Nothing from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. I could easily see MJF and Wardlow being one of the headline matches on that card. Or do they push it earlier? Do we get it on a Dynamite? Because we got a long ways to go. We got about 2.5 months before that next pay-per-view. So that's something that we need to consider. But excuse me. But for right now, 2.5, 2 3/4 for this. And MF, as I give it back to you, I'll say it again. You were right. I was wrong. Move on.
Well, I'm not going to take the glory on this one. I mean, look, it's just, it's like you always said, AEW has been notorious for wanting to keep elongated or long, it's just interesting to see
long
how
title
this,
reign.
Yeah, long title reigns, and you talk about how AEW has been notorious for doing that. So it kind of, I understand why they did it. Look, it prolongs the storyline between Wardlow and MJF and Sean Spears, and it does play the long game, which I think we all can agree. That's exactly what we thought was going to happen. At the end of the day, they did it right. They got it right. Congratulations. Scorpio Sky can be a good champion. He can. Obviously, you got to wait for Sammy to come back. Obviously, he's nursing his injuries, whatever. And when he does come back, he's going to try to go for the belt again and be a 3-time champion. And there's some other guys out there, some other singles talent that maybe is going to get an opportunity. So who knows how long Scorpio Sky is going to be the champion. But the thing is that the longer he becomes, the more the ego is going to start to get on Scorpio Sky, on Dan Lambert, and we already know how Michael Bullock feels about that. So we're just going to leave it there and then just move right on along. Next up we had was the Hardys versus Private Party. Hardy Boys wins the match in 12:03. So who leads off? Bullock?
I believe he does.
All right, Mike Bullock, it's all yours, man.
What was the time?
12 minutes and 3 seconds.
Yeah, and what is the match?
The Hardys versus Private Party.
Yeah, I'll give this about maybe 3.5. I mean, this was, a good match here, and man, it's just good to see the Hardys back together again as a tag team, and they're always entertaining. But of course, after the match, AFO looked like they were gonna gain up on them, but Darby Allin and Sting basically put a stop to that. So looks like this feud is far from over with these groups. So nothing more to say. Fletch, it is yours. 3.5 for me.
3.25 for me. Solid match, good battle. Nice to see the Hardys. They looked fluid, man. They looked so good together. This is one of those moments. I know Dee Woodson. When you get a chance to see this, go out of your way to watch this one. These are your boys. You're gonna be like, it's a chef's kiss. That's all it is. It's a love letter to the fans who's been so loyal to the Hardys for so many years. They just picked up right where they left off, and it was beautiful. Private Party was a perfect foil for this match. It was a solid performance. 3.25 stars. Anthony, it's yours.
3.25, 3.5. I mean, despite their creative shortcomings, Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy were allowed to hang with Matt and Jeff Hardy, besting the future Hall of Famers throughout the commercial. The hot tag to Jeff drew one of the loudest reactions of the night, and moments later, the charismatic Enigma paid their love and support off with a Swanton Bomb for the win in a match that may not have lived up to expectations, but was still a strong AEW introduction to one of the greatest teams of all time. The pop that accompanies the open seconds of the Hardys' music is special and indicative of the connection the team has with fans, not to mention the influence they have had on the industry over the last 2 decades. Jeff, recognizing that Isaiah Cassidy was too close to the ropes for his finisher and audibling to a standard splash, was an underrated veteran move from a guy synonymous with giving into instinct rather than logic. Darby Allin and Sting made the save for the victors after Andrade, the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny made their presence felt. So that could definitely be leading to something down the road. Maybe Andrade, the Butcher, the Blade, and Private Party against Darby, Sting, the Hardys, and one other. Maybe one name that definitely comes to mind is Sammy Guevara. I don't know, for a big multi-man match down the line. But for right now, 3.25 to 3.5 for this. So there isn't much more to say here except MF. It's main event time, and would it live up to the hype that it did 1 year ago?
Here we go, guys. Rage in the Cage. The AEW Women's World Title on the line. The champion, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. The challenger, Thunder Rosa. 1 year ago, Thunder Rosa won the Lights Out match, the non-sanctioned Lights Out match. That was a 5-star classic. Was history going to repeat itself? Well, the winner of the bout in about 18 minutes and new AEW Women's World Champion Thunder Rosa wins the championship tonight. It's not 5 stars, but it's pretty damn close. 4.5 stars for me. Fight of the night. Incredible match. Incredible way to end it. History being made. And we have ourselves a new AEW Women's World Champion. It started with Rio. Went to Nyla Rose. Went to Hikaru Shida. Went to Dr. Britt Baker. And now, Thunder Rosa, the 5th AEW Women's World Champion in the history of the company. Anthony Florio, you called it. You wanted it.
Yep.
You got it. New champion. History made. Thunder Rosa. Unprecedented crowning here tonight.
Unprecedented crowning and then some, MF. You're absolutely right, Monsoon. No doubt about it. Fight of the night. 4.5 stars. Steel chairs, bloodied foreheads, and thumbtacks served as callbacks to the previous Lights Out bout between Thunder Rosa and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, the implementation of those instruments of agony, coupled with an escalation in intensity, made for another extraordinary encounter between two of the most talented women's wrestlers in the world. It was Rosa's Thunderfire driver into the tax that concluded an emotion-filled contest and gave fans the happy ending they sought. Not even a full face of paint could hide the emotions that painted Rosa's face following her epic title win here tonight. The confetti raining on the San Antonians in the new champion's adopted hometown put an exclamation point on a near perfectly executed main event presentation. The mariachi band playing prior to Rosa's entrance added to the enormity of this main event. Big thumbs up to Dr. Britt Baker paying homage to the late Scott Hall with her Outsiders-themed wrestling gear. Senior referee Paul Turner's referee bump teased chicanery in a great spot, hinting that Rosa might be screwed out of the title for the second consecutive time. That coupling that along with the Revolution pay-per-view, a nasty, ouch-inducing bump by Baker into a tower of steel chairs further proved Baker's underrated toughness, and Dustin Rhodes joining the openly weeping winner was a nice touch. One Texan embracing the other. I don't know what else there is for me to say on this. It's been an emotionally charged week and day for all of us here, but that definitely took our minds off of it, and at a time when we really needed it. I know I did. So, man, that made me feel a lot better. So 4.5 stars to me. Thank you, ladies, for another phenomenal match. You did it last year. You did it again this year. History made, as MF said, unprecedented crowning. And the Good Doctor's reign ends at about 10 months, just north of 10 months, because she won it at the Double or Nothing event, Memorial Day weekend last year. I believe that was May 30th of 21. And she loses it here tonight, ending in a near 10-month run. And I'll get the exact number in just a moment. But man alive, what an incredible match it was. So the reign ends at 290 days. The Good Doctor was just north of 300 days as champions. So a great run for Dr. Britt Baker, like her or not. But now it's the beginning of a new era, the Thunder Rosa era. So there isn't much more for me to say. Michael Bullock just missed being a 5-er again. But hey, 4.5, pretty damn good, I'd say. And congratulations, Thunder Rosa, the new AEW Women's World Champion. And let me tell you, you thought that new belt was already beautiful. It's even more beautiful with that crazy dame holding it, that Luna, that Chica holding it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, history was definitely made. I mean, it may not have been 5 stars, but 4.5 definitely is pretty damn good in my eyes as well. So yeah, these ladies really brought their A game. I mean, we saw everything. We saw the blood. We saw yeah, I mean, all the thumbtacks, the chairs, what have you. But Thunder Rosa finally gets it done. And I'll tell you this, guys. I mean, if she didn't win it, it was going to be quite a long time before she gets another shot at the title. But she finally gets it done. History made on this Wednesday night. So there's really nothing more to say except Fletch. Overall thoughts time.
Yeah, overall thoughts, Anthony Florio. NXT, we were not so happy with this one. I'm thinking this number is going to be very high and a really good number for AEW Dynamite.
Solid 8. Solid 8 out of 10 for me. Main event stole the damn show, but then again, we had a feeling it was going to. Second best fight of the night was the 6-man opener with Undisputed Era 2.0 against Hangman, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus. That was the second best fight. Rounding out the top three, definitely the Hardys and Private Party. We had some very interesting developments tonight, and I'll tell you, it was an easy watch as well. I mean, that show flew. That's all I can say on that. That show flew. I mean, you're like, it's over already? I was like, it's over already? I'm like, wow. Damn, this show moved fast tonight. So, and then throw in a great segment with the Jericho Appreciation Society. That was a fantastic segment as well. We have now officially started the feud with MJF and Wardlow. That's now been kicked into high now. So, yeah, very exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. And Freeman Coliseum, one of the great professional wrestling venues over the last 30 years or so, from the Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view to the 1994 Survivor Series, select episodes of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, some history-making moments that have taken place in that venue, and you can add this to the list here tonight. So those fans in San Antonio, they're definitely taking home a memory tonight. And of course, the one thing that's going to be most remembered, of course, the epic and emotional women's title victory for One Thunder Rosa. So, and I know how much that means to you, MF, because I know, you know Rosa a lot more than Bullock and I do. One of many wrestlers you know better than Bullock and I do. I mean, I know it's not just a Latina thing. It's not just that, but I know how much you admire her, and what a big moment for her. I mean, she can now say that she is the first woman to ever be an NWA Women's Champion, and now she can add AEW Women's Champion to that resume.
Wow. Not only that, but she's also a former Trios champion of Lucha Underground. She was actually she was Cabra Moon.
No way.
Yeah, she was actually Cabra Moon of Lucha Underground. So
the Reptile Tribe, yes.
Of the Reptile Tribe, yes, Anthony. So
with Luchasaurus when he was known as Fibara, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you got and she was a part of the Reptile Tribe. She won the Trios title with Daga and Jeremiah Snake, if you remember them two.
Oh yes.
And yeah, so she is now. I mean, you want to talk about history making? You want to talk about history making for her? She also wrestled in Ring of Honor. She's done NWA, like you said, former women's champion in that one. Made a brief appearance on Impact Wrestling, but now she is the face of AEW and the women's division as now the new AEW Women's World Champion. So yes.
Unbelievable. That's a resume. So now the sky's the limit for Rosa. So man, epic moment to say the very least. So nothing more for me to say. Solid 8 out of 10 for me. Michael Bullock, could you think of a better way to send the crowd home happy? I think not.
Yeah, this was definitely a great way to send the fans home happy with this great moment of Thunder Rosa becoming the new AEW Women's World Champion, and in a match that we all enjoyed. So a solid 8 out of 10 for me. I mean, another solid show here by AEW Dynamite. I mean, you had a lot of good matches here. I mean, some solid promos. So yeah, kudos to you, AEW. So nothing more to say. Fletch, take it home.
Yeah, tonight was a historic night in wrestling, no doubt about it. incredible stuff that we saw. There's really nothing more to add. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Michael Bullock. Thank you to the greatest fans in the world. To say that we have the most passionate, the most loyal, and the most appreciative fans in the world is a complete understatement. You guys have answered the bell for us many times. And you continue to support us, and we love you for it. We thank you for it. The Strictly Sports is coming back tomorrow night, and boy, do we got a loaded show. Basically, going into this, we were thinking, all right, we're going to probably do about the NCAA tournament. Oh, no. Let's just say the NFL and especially Major League Baseball, boys, they gave us a docket and then some. Anthony Florio, a lot of signings, a lot of trades, a lot of hot stove stuff is exploding. And on top of that, we're about to start spring training. Spring training is about to start.
Yes, indeed. And I'll tell you what, I mean, it's going to start with, of course, the unretirement of the GOAT, Tom Brady. Tom Brady announcing his unretirement from the NFL. He's coming back for one more year. At least for one more year. Definitely made business pick up. No question about that. So we'll address that. Bills Mafia. Business has picked up in a big way. I heard MF and all these other guys saying that the Buffalo Bills needed, a powder keg, if you will, on a special gifted defensive player. Do we have your attention now? Von Miller is a Buffalo Bill. What? Are you kidding me? That is insanity. Our defense was already great. Now you got him. He just led the Rams to a Super Bowl. Could that be an omen? Could that be a harbinger of things to come? Bills Mafia, get encouraged. That's all I'm going to say. I know I am. We'll get into that. Big trade with my baseball team, the New York Yankees and the Minnesota Twins. We had to get rid of one of our key cogs, but we brought in someone who has on the field has a reputation of being a great hitter, but off the field, not so much. I'll explain. Chris Bryant has found a new home. Jock Peterson, sorry MF, Jock Peterson has found a new home, and it looks like MF. I'm also sorry to say, the heart and soul of your team. It looks like he's on his way out. So we'll address all of that.
But I will say that the blow was definitely softened over the news that I heard for the Atlanta Braves. There's actually a few bits of news that just came out that actually kind of softens the blow a little bit.
Absolutely. One of your key players from your out of nowhere Cinderella World Series run is coming back. So I know you're very pleased about that, as you should be, because he was a big part of it, especially in the NLCS. Wink, wink. So we'll have all the big news and some other notable news in the NFL free agency, some news in the Major League Baseball free agency, and the main event. We will start our game coverage of the NCAA tournament. We'll run down the scores, and if it's warranted, we'll throw in some bonus commentary of maybe a Shakespearean drama game or a possible upset alert. If any of those criteria goes down, we're doing it. So, because I know how much you fans love that. So that's pretty much it. So NFL free agent. Well, we're going to lead off with Tom Brady anyway. So it's going to be Tom Brady, and then all the big notable moves from free agency from the NFL, MF, your Dolphins just got a major running back help. So I know you're very
we did a lot. We did a lot for the Miami Dolphins. I mean, we had a lot of help. I mean, our entire I'm gonna say this. If you want to talk about what Miami did, holy cow, man, they went absolutely ballistic. Like they were splurging money left and right, and we did really well. And I don't think they're done yet, though. That's the crazy thing. They're not done yet. They still got, from what I've been told, with all the moves that they still have, they still got $21 million of salary cap to work with.
Oh, well, okay. And Buffalo's made some big moves too.
Oh yeah, so is the Patriots. Don't disrespect the Patriots.
Oh, certainly not.
We'll get
into all of it.
We'll get into all of it. Oh yeah, there's a lot.
Tyrod Taylor.
Yep.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Yep.
And
Randy Gregory. Oh my goodness.
Randy Gregory.
Are you gonna be an enemy of Dallas Cowboy fans forever for what you did?
Oh yeah.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that well, I know a few Cowboys fans, not just the one that we know, but there's other Cowboys fans that I know. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're probably spitting kittens right now, knowing what he just did.
Oh, yeah.
So We'll get into that.
Yep. So the notable, keyword notable, free agent moves in the NFL, although Tom Brady is the first thing. So that's the thing that has to be addressed. Because it literally happened right as we ended our Selection Sunday special. Bullock broke it. So we'll get into that. We'll get into the notable Major League Baseball free agency and hot stove and all that. But the main event, without a doubt, it will be the tournament. And bonus commentary only if there's an upset alert or if there's a Shakespearean drama classic game. And we definitely have one in this play-in game right here and now.
Oh yeah, this is crazy right now.
Notre Dame and Rutgers. And MF, I know you got to have a big smile on your face because it's your favorite Big Ten ACC stuff.
Oh yeah,
because I know how much you love. I know how much you love the Big Ten ACC Challenge stuff. So this is definitely living up to a Big Ten ACC Challenge game, no doubt about it. So Big Ten right now in front, but that could change. You never know. So that's it. NFL free agency, baseball free agency, tournaments the main event, bonus commentary if there's an upset alert or a 5-star classic game. So usual start time, MF?
Usual start time, yes.
All right. So 10:30 tomorrow night, Tone 25. See y'all then. So with that, MF, put a capper on this emotional night.
Well, we are indeed going to do that. Thank you so much, as always. And yeah, until tomorrow night, have a wonderful evening, everybody. So long for now. Bye-bye.